Well, one of the you just mentioned the idea of sort of commodifying Blackness, and the book does sort of deal with the way in which the publishing industry sort of zeroes in on the topics of the moment, and and elevates those stories that deal with those topics. I mean, how important do you think just sort of the timing and the zeitgeist was to the acceptance of this book by the publishing industry? I mean, do you think that they would have been as open to it 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
That's a great question. It's funny because I mean, in the book, I do talk about those wave of diversity meetings are happening. Time to have everybody sit in on this because this event happened, a police shooting, and then months later, everyone forgets about it. And so that wave that I was talking about in the book, I was thinking of the wave I talked about earlier of Eric Garner, Philando Castile, like that happened 5 or 6 years ago. So then to have last year happen was pretty wild, but it actually was. I mean, I sold the book in February 2020, so it was before Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. But that doesn't quite answer your question. I mean, 6 years ago, maybe, but I do think, even though I can be pretty cynical about if this latest wave is actually making a change, I mean, I do think that we've made some progress since the last 5, 10 years. So I do think that this book, especially in terms of how Black it is, there are references in it, there are Black hair conversations in it that are really not explained. And I do think that a lot of things that have happened in recent years, I mean, Insecure, the rise of Issa Rae, the rise of Jordan Peele, of course. I do think that there is now, I mean, there's always been an audience for these kinds of works, of course. We've been out there, but I think now that a lot of these things have made mainstream, I do think that had a lot to do with this book finding a home. So yeah, I mean, I think about it a lot too in terms of timing, like how interesting it was that it really was months before the year we had last year. It was so meta working on the book, the edits during the protest last year.